Virtual consultation also has a report generator built into it as well. So I'm going to go through an example, point out a couple of things that you want to make sure you pay attention to when you generate the report, and then the whole experience should be very smooth. So over here on the left-hand side, let's go ahead and click on another condition. I'll go back to the disc ailments feature. Let's say a patient comes in with a left lateral bulging disc. Now you can generate the report ahead of time. We try to set this up and make it as fast as possible for you to generate a report while the patient is sitting there. So if you report the findings, the educational session takes a few minutes, maybe even less. You could hopefully generate a report in about 60 seconds or so. We've kind of set it up that way. So let's say we look at a left lateral bulging disc and we want to capture this. The patient's there, you've explained it to them, and you want to build a report that says, this is what your condition is, this is how we're going to treat you, this is how you get better. So we click on the capture button on the right hand side. It'll take a screen capture of that. You have the option to either save this image to your Facebook page, or you can go ahead and click save. That'll save it into a folder, and then when we launch the report generator, it'll pick up that file, that image. You want to make sure that the report generator is closed while you're capturing those images though. Sometimes doctors will call and they'll say, I've got the report generator up, I'm clicking on capture, I'm not seeing those images. So when it's launched, when you click on that button on the right, like I'll show you in a second, that's when it goes and grabs those files that are in a folder, and then it displays it inside the report generator. So let's go ahead and now capture one more image. We're going to explain to the patient that we're going to treat this. Again, it can be flexion extraction or decompression, whatever it is. Patients love it when you whiteboard, and you can even show improvement there, pressure coming off that nerve. Let's go ahead and capture that as well, and then we can go ahead and save that image as well. And at that point, you can continue to capture images. You can capture up to 8 images, or you can generate the report. So let's go ahead and click on generate a report. And then the very first time, is everything visible? That looks actually pretty good. So the very first time, you're going to be required to put some information into the report generator. So it's going to open up into the practice information section. So you can click on it over and over again. It'll expand it and close it down. You're going to want to put in your practice name, your practice information, like your contact information, and then a description of your practice there as well too. And let's go ahead and scroll down. You'll see there's 2 more fields that are part of this section: the patient's name and the patient's email address. So you want to make sure you put in a name. If not, it'll give you a warning when you try to print this off or try to email it. And then an email address as well too. So you can put in, I'll just put in a fictitious email address, but put in whatever you want there. And there we go. So it'll retain most all of this information. So you put in practice name, practice information, contact information, practice description. You put all that in there one time, it'll retain that. You always have to put the patient's name and always have to put the patient's email address if you want to email it. And then up at the top here, as far as the logo, you can put the logo in there. So you'll have that somewhere on your computer. You just click on that little folder on the right-hand side, navigate over there, select it. It could be a JPEG, it could be a PNG or a bitmap, whatever you want. Make sure that little box is checked off there. The only option now is to center it, which means it's going to be on the top of the first page, your logo, at the very center. And make sure the show button is checked off again. And then as far as the size of the logo, this comes up every now and then with doctors and their staff. The one restriction we have there is that the height of the image cannot be much more than about 175 pixels. So about 175, 180 pixels tall is about what you're going to want there. And then you won't have any problems. You can go wider, of course, as far as the dimensions. You can go about 600, 650 pixels wide by about 175 tall. So 650 by 175 is a very good set of numbers there. And then we can go ahead and close that down. Again, once you go back in there for the next patient down the road, all this information is going to be retained except for the patient's name and the patient's email address. And then you'll have options here you can select for different conditions. So pretty much all the animations that are in virtual consultation have a section that corresponds to it. We captured information about the disc, so we'll click on the disc and joint conditions. And let's say this patient has a L3, L4 that's degenerating and bulging. Maybe this one is herniated at L4, L5. Maybe there's stenosis. You can check that off as well too. So we'll scroll back up a little bit and close down that section. And then we can go ahead and scroll down even further and go down to another section. So if there's no other conditions that you want to report or put into the report, you can go down to, let's say, the image gallery. That's going to show you the images that you actually captured too in a thumbnail format. And of course, they'll be larger on the report. And then you can go down to the next section if you want to add comments. Let's see if I can get down there. So there's the comment section. Very easy to create these comments. So whatever you want as part of that report, maybe it's home care for that patient, maybe you want them to do some stretching or strengthening exercises at home, apply icing, nutritional supplements. Very, very easy. So you just click on new comment, type it in. It can be as long or as short as you want it to be. Hit save. It's going to ask for a name for that comment. So we'll just say comment 1. And that one already exists, so let's just call that 2. Okay, so now we've got a couple of comments in there. They're gibberish, but for demonstration purposes they work. And then you can just add that comment. So it will go ahead and place that into this larger box down below. You'll be able to see that, and you can have as many comments as you want. It'll concatenate one after the next, so that's just gibberish, but it's just for demonstration purposes, of course. And then let's see if we can get down even further to the next section. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and move this up. All right, so there is a exercise section in there as well too. So I'm going to click on that, and we'll scroll up. And this is the last section in the report generator. So you can basically scroll down and look at whatever exercises you want. So there's cervical stretching and strengthening, lumbar stretching and strengthening, and ball exercises built into this as well too. And it's just a matter of checking off the box where it says print next to the exercise you want. It's going to come up with some options: hold times, repeat times, number of times per day. Let's say we want to grab these 2 right here, and you could be done at that point. At that point, if you want to go ahead and generate the report, you can go ahead and click on the print icon. You can send it to a printer, hand it off to a patient. If you want to generate a PDF and email it over to the patient, you can do that as well. So in this case, I selected PDF. It's going to ask for, of course, it's going to need the email address, which we already put in there, and then you can click on that little button to the right, the ampersand, and that will go ahead and show it. Now, I've got a report here. I'm going to just bring that up and show you what it looks like, and let's just go ahead and get that in view. So I think you can see that okay. So this is what it would look like. So your logo up top, practice name, practice information, description of your practice. It automatically grabs the date from the computer as well too. And then you can go down to the next section, and so this is where you basically say, look, Mr. Jones, this is what your condition is, right? Here are the screen captures. So exactly what you showed the doctor during the report of findings is exactly what's in there. And then you can go down to the last section, which says, basically, this is how we get you better. So I'm going to make this a little bit larger and see if we can manipulate this a minute. It needs to be about right there. And you can see what it's going to include is the treatment plan. So let's make that smaller. So the treatment plan, the schedule of care, comments. You can have as many comments as you want. Again, you create them one time, reuse them over and over again. And then the exercises. So cervical stretching and strengthening, lumbar stretching and strengthening, and ball exercises as well too.